So, good evening everyone, welcome to a new little video. I did do a news update a couple of days ago regarding the new requirements and what tests etc would be needed if you were travelling to the Canaries or Tenerife. It has now changed and we do have some more extra restrictions coming from the UK government, which is going to start at 4 AM on Tuesday. This will also apply to me and Laura over here in America. We will now need a post-arrival test to get back into the UK. So I'm going to quickly read through what it says and then explain to you exactly what you'll need if you are going to travel, if you're going to travel to Spain or Tenerife in particular. And I'll also quickly run through where you can get these tests in Tenerife as well. If you are panicking or worrying, I'll give you an idea of where to go and what sort of price they're going to be as well. So, what tests will I now need to get back into the UK? From 4 AM on Tuesday, arrivals must take a pre-departure test, which can be a lateral flow or rapid antigen, in addition to the post-arrival PCR. So, before you fly back to the UK, for example, from Tenerife, you will need to take a pre-departure test. Thankfully, it can be the rapid antigen, which are a little bit cheaper, but you will still also need the PCR test with the negative result before the end of day 2 as well. So they really are quite worried about this variant. They're really trying to tackle it. The government gives 2 different versions of how far in advance it should be taken. One rule is no earlier than 48 hours before departure. For the other, it says from 4 AM on 7th of December, you can take the test any time in the 2 days before the service on which you'll arrive on. This suggests it must be taken on either the 2 days before departure to the UK or on the day of travel. For example, for a Wednesday flight from the US, like us, to the UK that arrives the following morning, you leave here on a Wednesday, but you don't arrive into the UK until the Thursday. You could take a test on the Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, for example. So it's 48 hours before, reading between the lines, but under that, the second way of it explaining it, for an 11 PM flight on the Wednesday, you could in theory take a test at 1 AM on the Monday, which is 70 hours before. So 48 hours before you travel, particularly if you're on holiday in Tenerife, 2 days before you're going to go home, 48 hours before, just book in for a test. The government has said new analysis conducted by the UK Health and Security Agency indicates that the window between infection may be shorter for the Omicron variant, which increases the efficiency of pre-departure testing as it's more likely to identify positive cases before travel. So it is quite concerning over this new variant and they don't want any huge spikes over Christmas and New Year. So if you are in Tenerife at the moment or you're going to be after the 7th of December, you'll need that test. Now you can get that either at the Arona Gran is a good one in Los Cristianos. You can get one there. They do both types, but I would certainly highly recommend this is in Los Cristianos, this one, but there is one in Adeki as well. They've got the test centre right next to Harriet's tea rooms there, and they are absolutely excellent. My mum and dad have used them a few times. For an antigen test, you're looking about 35 euros or so, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, between 30 and 40 euros. They're pretty efficient, they're pretty quick, they're very used to doing it because this is how it was a couple of months ago, so it's nothing new to them. There might be a bit of a surge for the first few days while they get their head around things, but they'll be pretty used to it. Now the news has come out, they just go back to how things were a couple of months ago. So that one is called Clinica Vida. So if you Google that one, I will leave the link in the description as well. They are a bit of a chain, they've got a couple of other clinics as well, but they're the ones I would highly recommend the most. Clinica Vida. There's one in Los Cristianos near the bus station there, and I know people have used them. They're very efficient. Laura goes to the dentist there as well. They are very good and efficient. And the good thing with them is they do stay open up until the evening time. I know a few of them stop doing the tests by about 1, 2 in the afternoon. This one, you can get a late evening appointment. If you want to go out for the day, you can pop in about 7, 8 o'clock and even get a test then. So they're who I'd recommend. It's not a huge panic. It is going to add a little bit more cost to your trip. It's just one of those things like us here. We've now got to try and find a test in the US. It's one of them things, you know, we were well prepared for it. We're well happy being here on holiday. We'd rather be here and having to hunt for a little test for a few extra dollars than not be here at all. I understand for families it's a bit of a pain, it is a bit of an increase in extra costs, but that's sort of what we signed up for with travel during COVID. We all knew anything can change, and just like it has where we've come away, we knew there was a chance something might change, and it has. It's just one of those things. It's part and parcel of traveling with COVID, especially with the new variant flying around, so it is a little bit of a shame, but big concerns over that new variant. Do have to be very careful. So just to recap, if you are going to Tenerife after the 7th, you will need to enter with your vaccination certificate. This is from the UK. You must be fully vaccinated if you're traveling from the UK and England. If you're not fully vaccinated, you will not get into Tenerife or the Canary Islands or Spain. You'll fill in your Spanish traveller locator form. Again, I'll leave that in the description if you want to get that. It's free. Just fill everything in 24 hours before. Scan that in, show your vaccination certificate if they ask for it. Then you're free to enjoy your holiday. Take plenty of masks, you'll need them inside. A few little restrictions around, but overall, very good, very busy in Tenerife, I believe. I've been speaking to my colleague Lisa, who's looking after the business, and she said it's still very busy. At the airport today, she actually struggled to get in with a few cars. It was just bedlam, was the message I got earlier. So yeah, you'll enjoy your holiday, and then 2 days before, or maybe even before then, 3-4 days before, go in and book your return test to come home with. Get it booked in, get an appointment, pay for it. Make sure you take your passport with you. You can't book a test without your passport. If you go and try and say, oh, come in on Tuesday or whatever, they'll say no if you've not got your passport with you. Get that test, get the negative result. Then you will also need to have that day 2 PCR test booked with the confirmation number. Now that number is important because that is what you will put on your UK traveller locator form. You will need to fill in that number from the confirmation of the day 2 test booking. And if that number is incorrect, or it's a confirmation number for an antigen, which isn't accepted, the form won't go through. They know by the confirmation code what test you've got booked. So you'll go with that. You'll go with your negative test result as well. Have that. They'll print it off for you. Have that handy. They will probably check all of that on the Tenerife end. When we flew back to England for this trip, they checked everything in Tenerife. Before we even checked our bags in, they checked everything that we had. Then you'll fly back home, probably scan your pass as you go through. We didn't have to scan anything. They just checked the passport, but it's all on their system. And then you just need to take that day 2 PCR test. It's got to be done by the end of day 2, as I mentioned in the update I did a couple of days ago or yesterday. It's got to be done by the end of day 2, and you've got to isolate until you've got that negative test result. But if you're quick, you can do it on the first morning you're home, get it done, get the test result quick, and then you're free to resume life or go back to work. But until you've got that negative result by the end of day 2, you cannot go out. You do have to isolate. They are the new rules. Let me know what you think of them in the description. If you've got any hints or tips about the new rules, again, drop them in the comments. Everyone reads through the comments. Good to see some different opinions about things. I know a lot of people won't be happy with it. Some people will say it's the right thing to do for safety. They've plainly got big concerns over that new variant. And who knows what's in the future for travel. We're definitely going to enjoy our last few days here for sure, because who knows when we're going to get back. It's quite scary times, I suppose, because we could easily be going right backwards. I feel like a bit like Boris Johnson sat here on this desk. I don't normally do updates like this on a desk. I'm normally stood with a beach behind me. But if you did enjoy that, please do hit the subscribe. There's loads of information on the channel, live streams, all kinds on there. So do hit the subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and as I said, drop your comments. Let me know your thoughts. Have I missed something? Drop it in the comments. I am human. I do often miss things, and you guys save the day with the comments there. So thank you very much for watching. Stride on, stay positive. It's one of those things. You just got to get on with it. You can still have a great holiday like we are. We're not going to let it dampen our spirits. It's one of those things. And I suppose it does make travel safer, so you've got to look at it that way. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Stride on, and see you soon.